All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Bianca Ariel, business coach and co-founder of the Black and Influential Apparel Company. Thank you guys so much for joining us this week.
Hey guys, I'm Dominique Rice, owner of Dominique Rice Consulting, handful of nanny agencies, and co-founder of Black and Influential. Thank you so much for tuning in today.
Awesome. Well, welcome back, everyone. Thank you guys so much. So it's been a very busy week. Today, I'm actually going to talk about some of the things that I've been learning as referencing books that I purchased, audiobooks that I've been listening to, and how I've been able to apply it to our new brand that we're launching called Black and Influential. But before we do that, I just want to kind of catch up with Dominique and see how everything's going. And, I think one of the elements of, running a business is that we have a lot of things fostering around us. And I just want to see, how she's able to kind of balance everything and where she's at and kind of catch up in that phase. So, how have you been, Dominique? What's going on?
I've been good. So this weekend was crazy. I had a friend had this amazing, Kay, owner of She Orgasms, had this amazing birthday party. I mean, we were in Wakanda. We were not in Charlotte. We were in Wakanda. Okay. And then I'm back in school. So I had a very important paper due, literally my senior thesis, the one thing that I need to complete to graduate. So that rough draft was due. So it's been crazy. But along with that, then I've just been also reading books and listening to books. And we had some stuff together as business partners. And I think we listened to absolutely completely different things, which is even better. Because so that we can kind of talk about it. So I'm dying to hear about what you heard about, but the book I read was amazing. And then I'm on the second book, which is also really, really good.
Which is the book?
The second book, I ordered it because I wanted to read it in paperback. I just had it on the couch. It's the book about how to write $1 million book.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So I got that. I ordered that one as a paperback because I like to mix it up.
And you're probably going to need to reference back that book as well.
It's good.
It's not that good.
It's good, but I'm about halfway through and I haven't read anything that I haven't heard.
Gotcha. Okay, well that's good because originally I was going to buy all the books at once, but then I said, well, let me just buy them as I read them, and now I'm just going to be like, probably find a better book than that then.
Right.
Well, that means they had a really good title.
Yeah, which they talk about in their book. So mind you, I'm not halfway through. I'm about a third of the way, a little more than a third of the way through. Okay. But it's an easy read and it's a good read, so it's worth reading. So you might as well borrow it and read it in a couple of days.
Okay.
So I bought one audiobook, one book to read on the phone, one paperback book.
Okay.
It's a kind of mix of my readings.
Yeah, I feel you. I like it. So you've been reading Free PR. So tell me about that book.
Well, first of all, I have a consultation with them. I loved it so much. So, books that inspire you to just take action. But I feel really good about it. I mean, the whole beginning of the book is basically like, don't go with a big PR firm.
Okay.
That for a fraction of the cost, you can hire your own person.
Okay.
And then as I got more into the book, I learned how they did it themselves as COO or CEO. And then they hired someone.
Okay. Which is what we're probably going to have to do. Yeah.
Correct. So, and I really enjoyed that component. So there's some things that I had some clarification on, and I definitely want to get a couple more PR books because I really, really enjoyed that book. It was very informative. They're talking about what they've done, not what they want to do. Mm-hmm. These aren't people that just have a theory. These are people who use their theory to get to where they need to be. And I that's what I enjoy. So that was really good. And then I downloaded another book. I haven't started on that one yet. So I plan to knock out these other books and then get started on it later this week.
I love it. So I listened to Product Launch first, which was an excellent read. I think the majority of the book was just kind of repositioning, in launches, you will always want to kind of talk about who you are and what you've done and, how you're going to help your customers. But the majority of the book was more about just kind of really setting those deadlines and making sure that all of your operational work is set around your goals. And so depending on a lot of companies, when they launch, they're looking at the long-term perspective, which is accurate, right? When you launch a brand, you have to look at it for the long haul, and you have to create your strategies as such. However, if you are launching with a purpose and you want to hit certain quotas and numerical goals, then you have to make it really product focused. So it was kind of just a little bit of repositioning on figuring out exactly what we need to do in that asset. I think because we don't have a lot of brand awareness right now, I think we have to figure out what the balance is going to be between launching and focusing on the actual apparel versus launching and focusing on what our messaging is and the commitment that we're making to the community. So repositioning the product first, to me, didn't feel authentic, but we have to realize in launching a business that you're not going to be able to spread your word or live out your mission if you're not making revenue. So you really have to make sure that everything that you're doing is dedicated to selling the product and then explaining your mission thus after. So there's a lot of different components and a lot of different strategies that you can use to kind of map out the product launch plan, which I thought was really interesting. A lot of things that I was able to implement. So I kind of structured it like this. So when I was reading the audiobook, I pretended like I was in school again. So basically, anytime I heard something that was applicable to my business or Black and influential, then I pretty much sat down and actually did it. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to write that down and then that's a good point. It was like, okay, well, no, let me go ahead and apply that to my business right now. Let me set that up right now. And I kind of just used it as like a working workshop. So that way I felt like it could be the most beneficial. So after that, I read Story Brand, which is probably like, product launch was cool, like, you know, a good overall perspective, but Story Brand was very action oriented and like very applicable for what we're trying to do. And the whole consensus is about, you know, positioning your messaging to focus on the customer. Like nobody can, like, your business is great, your mission is great, you know, your values are great, that's wonderful, but to make sure that you stand out in a noisy world, people are going to know what is in it for them. And I know for me, like little things like, you know, about like aesthetics, even like on a website, I don't like busy websites, I like very clean cut websites, I don't really like a lot of call to actions everywhere. I just feel like it's really excessive, and coming from the sales environment, I never was really an aggressive salesperson anyway, but he had to explain to me specifically, like, it's not about what you want. The website is not for you. Like,
right.
It's not for you. Like it's for your customer. So think about your customer, and you have to tailor all your messaging to do so. But at the end of the day, when your customer is being fed information, okay, that's cool. Okay, that's cool. Like, oh, okay, that's cool. But what do you want them to do? And so anybody that goes to your website, they're not looking through your website. No one goes on websites to be like, oh, let me read their bio. They go on their website to be like, okay, let me scan this. Like, is there anything like here that's like, what is appealing here to me? And then they're moving on to the next. And so if you want to be able to stand out and you really want to get your objective across, you really have to change your messaging and make everything about them. Even like the tagline. So initially it was, you know, the most Black and influential platform in the world. But at the end of the day, what's our call to action? Is to purchase clothing. So I didn't want to be a clothing brand. I wanted to be a lifestyle brand, which is still true, but we have to make sure that all of our positioning is focused around selling the apparel, because that's how we make revenue, right? That's what's going to that's what's going to donate to the youth foundation that we're going to utilize to help. So putting your product or your service first is not necessarily like, you know, like devaluing what your mission. It's helping you actually accomplish your mission because you're going to have the revenue to do so. Exactly. And that's how you have to mentally look at it. And that's, right. You know, for me, I'm like, okay, like I understand that. And a lot of people they have analysis paralysis. So that's one. And number two, like you have to tell them what you want them to do. If you're talking to somebody about your product and service and you really believe in it and you're hesitant to tell them to go ahead and take action, then that shows that you don't really have the confidence that you really are portraying in your own product and services. So people want to see like, okay, because they're going to make a decision whether you ask them to or you don't. But if you ask them to and they do it, or you don't ask them to and then they don't do it, it's almost like, okay, you need to make sure like, okay, this is what we're trying to do and this is how you are going to be able to help us. But so I thought that was a great book. It had a worksheet with it. You know, I did my worksheets and I was even able to position that into my own brand. Like there's so much coaching and consulting out there, and we pretty much offer similar elements, and it's very hard to stand out, I'm sure, with every industry across the board. But like, you know, what is something that's going to make you stand out? What's your one liner? Like, what do you do that's going to be different from others? And what do you think is going to be helpful? So I always think that breaking things out into digestible pieces is extremely effective. And I also think that breaking things out into threes is effective for me. So for me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to rebrand. I'm going to call it the Law of Three, and I'm going to provide short, clear, direct content that leads you to success. So basically, you know, you could come here, you see the title of the video, you have an objective. I'm going to give you 3 ways on how to break it down, or I'm going to break it down in a sector to where it's easy for you to consume and take action right that day, instead of like producing all of these long duration content, you know, ideas and sources that, you know, I don't have time to make it, number one, and people really don't have time to listen to. So
Right.
that was kind of why I started the podcast in the first place. I'm like, who reads blogs? Like, we need something that's a little bit more, you know, quick and easy to digest, because people are very busy, and selling time back to them is effective. So
Right.
that was my book. Sorry.
So, well, I want to take it back a little bit. So when people put on their website, so when we were originally trained to make a website, it was to give information, share about your products and services, and then maybe people will buy. That's where you're wrong. Like, for instance, I had a client that said, well, I need your help with my About Us page. I'm like, for what? What the hell is that? Nobody gives a shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, you should make it nice. Yes, you should have a bio. That's not what you need my help for.
Right.
Go online and Google a couple of bios. You need to sell this shit.
Right.
You need to, you know, have another client who is an author who's selling a book. You have to scroll down a few scrolls to even get to the book. And I'm like, no. So I think that people are just conditioned to want to give information. But let me tell you guys something. Nobody's reading the shit on your website. Yeah. And this is a proven fact, because if they did, they wouldn't have so many of the same damn questions.
Right. And I think from, you know, me coming from a background where we had to nurture our relationships, and it was a very long-term sales cycle, you need to know, understand what type of game you're in. Like, right. You don't need to, if someone is going to buy your t-shirt, like, this is my mission, and this is the mission, this is how you can help, you know, you need to buy it today. That's a short sales cycle. I'm used to long sales cycles. I'm used to nurturing relationships. And what I also learned is, like, there's a way to do that, but they have to show interest first. So I'm not going to do a drip campaign for our t-shirts unless we have like a promotional aspect connected to it, or something that's going to be beneficial, or we have a new launch of products or things like that, because we don't really have a service where it's set up that we're producing content continuously, right? It's going to be the content of other people on our social media platforms. But if I'm doing my coaching business and I'm producing coaching videos, and someone is interested in my videos and things that I have to say, I am going to run a drip campaign, because that's going to be connected to a book that's going to come out, and then a card deck that's going to come out, and things like that. So you have to understand, like, what are you nurturing? What type of audiences do you have, and what do you need to nurture, and what don't you need to nurture? But at the end of the day, like, everybody wants a call to action. What are you asking them to do? And right. I think that was like my biggest takeaway. Like, one time on the page for me, I can see it, like, I see it, but at the end of the day, it's not about me or how I shop. It's about how, you know, your audience shops. Like, what does your audience want to see? And you know us, like, we like to get straight to the point. Like, what is this? How much does it cost? Like, and that's it.
And if you want to click around some more, you can go on our Instagram and click around and read some stories, and there's still going to be that component, but you can't force that upon people. You can't force people to read your rules and regulations. You know, I see all these hairdressers in the service industry, and they're like, didn't you see my list? No, bitch, we didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We didn't read your list of 10,000 rules. We just said, okay, and paid a deposit. People aren't reading. It's 2020. We're processing information at a much quicker speed because information's always there. So like Bianca says, make your information stand out. If it doesn't stand out, if you don't show how you're different, nobody's going to see you. It's noisy out here, guys. It's very noisy.
It is. It is. So yeah, that was it. What's our fun question for the week?
So, oh, what's your dream birthday party?
Ooh, a dream birthday party.
You want me to go first? Because I kind of...
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I'm probably going to do this for 40, maybe 35. Who knows? Okay. But I want to charter a plane. I want to get my closest girlfriends. and I want to charter a plane. So I'm not telling anybody where we're going, just like what the attire is going to be, which is warm weather and bad birthday behavior. Okay.
That's fun. Like we don't know where we're going,
No
nothing.
one's gonna know where you're going, and everything you're gonna be catered to hand and foot. So it's a totally exclusive trip for my inner circle. We're gonna charter a plane, get there, VIP service, just three to 4 days where we are. It's gonna be relaxation, turn up, spiritual healing, and manifesting plus business goal setting all in one birthday weekend while celebrating myself.
Oh, I love it. So you're
All
still not gonna
champagne.
say a location. You're just like, it's just gonna be warm.
It's a warm location. Be ready to party.
I love it. So I would think mine, it would be like very small, like maybe a yacht in Greece, or dream. So if I'm like on a room, if it's just me and my boo thing, I probably want to go to like Turkey and go to Cappadocia where they release all of the air balloons,
Yeah.
hot air balloons. But if it's like me and like my close friends and family, I would do like maybe a yacht in Greece.
Okay.
No, I'm dying to go to Greece.
I know.
It's gonna happen. Soon come, soon come. All right, cool. So today we kind of just caught up with Dominique and kind of talked about all of the different books that we're reading and figuring out how that's going to be applicable to our businesses. So Dominique is actually going to get on a call with an agency that wrote a book called Free PR, and I just got finished reading a book called Product Launch and Story Brand. So those were excellent recommendations. I would read if you had to pick one book, I would read Story Brand. So
every client read that book. So that's their first homework.
Yeah.
After they sign up with me, that's their homework, is to read that book, and we go through each section together, because it will transform your business and it will allow you to see things from a different perspective and spilling it out like a story. So as an author, because I am dropping a book, so I am an author because I'm writing it, just not published yet, but it's coming. Everything is a story. So share your story.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys back next week. Bye.
Bye, y'all.